Near, rip a hole in the sun. Welcome to Cum Paude. Why would you cum soft when you can cum louder? Yeah.
Welcome to Cum Laude. Cum Laude. All right, here we are again. We're here at week 9. We got season 2, episode 11 of the Cum Paude. We got a great show for you tonight. We're going to be going through the fastest minutes, recaps of last week. We're going to get to Nick's picks and see how we're doing against the spread. We'll talk about the shakeup of the standings, and we've got yet another owner interview tonight. We're going to talk to the league favorite, the King Slayer, coming tonight. Going to get a great episode at you today. I'm here joined by my esteemed co-host, mi hijo, the Fermalish, El Dame Judy Dench. How's it going over there, Fermi? Hey, Paudy, hey, we're back again for another week. Excited to jump into the fastest 7 minutes here and recap week 8. I'm especially excited for, I think you know why. And then we're going to talk to an esteemed guest tonight. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's just jump right into it and go ahead and cue that music. We had the Jumbo Ween Kinnears at the Cum Sales. The winner was given 1.5, and they crushed it. Jordan Addison had a great night, continues to shine. Great draft pick choice for Brian. This is a team that could definitely spoil some wins for your team, but I don't think they've got enough firepower for a big run this year. It's really just going to come down to the bet with the Judy Denches. And the Cum Sale had Laporta. That's about all the Cum Sale had. The fairy tale may be over. Jumbo Wiener gets the win 105-57. Moving right along, we had Wilkes Tooth at the Pubic Medusas. Hurts and McCaffrey do it again. Deontay Johnson is back for the Steelers. This team is scary. If it stays healthy, they can make a long run. Not a terrible outing from Wilkes Tooth. We've seen worse from this team. Joe Burrow seems to be back. Really needs a second running back in that lineup to be able to do some damage. This is another team that is headed for bottom of the standings. There's going to be a battle for that first round overall pick. Medusas gets the win 137-108. Then we've got the Porta Pots at the July Pies. Justin Herbert, Travis Etienne with just a fantastic come out of the blue tent and score a bunch of points. And Jahmyr Gibbs is here. Free Jahmyr Gibbs. Gibbs gonna give it to you. Yeah. And then we got the Porta Pots, another team racing to the bottom. Running back trade is coming, potentially getting rid of Joe Mixon. That's going to make the team a little bit worse. They're rebuilding for next year. They're going to build this team around Jamar Chase. Pies gets the win, 139-108. Pies wins their 4th in a row, continuing to climb that ladder. Then we've got the Scrotums at the ESPNs. It's really solid receiver play all around, including TJ Hawkinson. Great to see with Justin Jefferson out. Maybe comes back next week. Great game out of Javonte. You know, that's good stuff. Playing CJ Stroud last week, but still doesn't matter going against ESPN. ESPN relies on Mahomes and Cooper Kupp. They combine for less than 10 points. You're not going to do it if those two guys combine for less than 10 points. And if you don't get the supporting cast, running back room is in rough shape here. Scrotums gets the win, 127-72, no doubt. ESPN, another team fighting for that first round pick. And we jump out to the Ham Fists at the Big Dak Energies. Big Dak was favored by only 4 in this one, but Dak has got a lot of firepower. And A.J. Brown, quietly the number 2 wide receiver in the league, continues to score a lot of points, and Tua gets a great bounce-back game. Ham Fist scoring 139 points, would win plenty of other matchups this week, but facing other teams' best weeks. Not even this team's best week, because Big Dak just keeps winning, keeps piling on points. You know, the standards don't show it, but this team has won several weekly big points payouts, and you just got to look out for a team like that that's capable of scoring at will. Josh Allen is leading the pack yet again for the Hamfist. A big surprise outing from Taysom Hill. I don't know if it's a surprise or not, but you just can't figure out which week is going to be the Taysom Hill week there in New Orleans. But not enough out of Pacheco, not enough out of Christian Kirk. Both players that Hamfist received from Brian, so I guess Brian's getting the bigger end of the deal there. You know, you leave Brian's team and you start underperforming. That's just the way things are going. All I can say here after Big Dak wins 150-139 is 5-9, 5-9, 5-9. Let's see it, Hamfist. Prove me wrong. Next game, we've got the Flowers at the Taint Party. The Flowers were given 3 in this one. The Flowers just said, nah, I'll give you 40. I'll give you 50. CD Lamb and DeAndre Hopkins, each with 30 plus. Nuff said, piled it on early, just said this game is over. Taint Party continues to struggle with Devontae Adams. Green Bay's offense continues to struggle, which has a nice hookup between Love and Christian Watson. And Tony Pollard just not putting together the points we thought he would. That beginning of the season trade, thought it was going to be a blockbuster, thought it was going to take this team to that untouchable level. They've still got the talent on their team, but it's just not pulling together at the right time. So hopefully this team can get it going in the second half of the season. They'll get into the playoffs for sure, but we really need these players to gel and put up some points for the Taints. Flowers get the big victory, 148-86. And finally, the most important matchup of the week, Dame Judi Dench at the Beth Healthy Twins coming into this week 7-0. Well, they showed up on the Paude, and they got their first loss. Is there a curse of being on the Paude? Maybe that's why we can't get some of these other people on the show. They're afraid of losing the next week. It's just like the Madden cover. Big upset of the week. Dame Judi Dench comes out of there, puts up 128 points, gets some help from some of the sleeper plays on their team. Jahan Dotson getting a big game out there with Washington. Dallas's D continues to put up points and carry this team. Big jobs from the old kicker too. So kickers and defense is really carrying Judy here. Jacoby Myers had a chance Monday night to close this gap and get this victory. Only got one catch late in the game. Couldn't do it. Upset of the week. Closest matchup of the week. Dame Judi delivers the first loss to Beth's Healthy Twins and might have started a skid with the injury to Healthy Twins quarterback. We'll see. Kyler Murray may come back, but Judi gets the win, 128-119. We're going to turn it over to Pluto Ploopsicle. He's going to run us through the Week 9 prospectus. We're going to see how he does against the spread. Had a rough week last week, looking for a bounce back. Yeah, quite the week it was last week there. Looking at week 8, we had the big upset of the week. Everybody's happy to see it, and we see a true delineation of where teams are and where they're going to be. Let's jump into this week 9 prospectus with Nick's picks. We were 29-26 against the spread overall. We had a down week last week. We were 2-5. Something just wasn't clicking, but we're getting back on it today. We got some great lines going. Let's jump right in. We got the Dame Judi Dench going at Hammy Time, home favorite by 18, and we've got the Judi Denches to cover this. They've got a patchwork roster here, reaching into every inch of their roster. They've got nobody they can sit this week because everybody else is hurt. This game is going to come down to that Buffalo matchup in Kansas City. If it's a barn burner, then watch out, Judi. You might not get it because Josh Allen and Diggs are going to play hard, but we're going to say that maybe they're not going to score. And Dame Judi Dench, lock it up. Judi covers at 18 in the road. Next matchup, we got the Wilkes Tooth going out after the ESPN's two teams that are going towards the bottom of the standings. ESPN currently giving 6. They're going to cover that at home. There's a bounce back this week from Mahomes and Cooper Kupp. They're going to get the points that ESPN needs. Both these teams have depleted running backs. They don't know who to start in their second slot. But let's lock it up for the ESPNs. Next matchup we got is Laporta Pot at the Medusas, the new leaders in the clubhouse. Medusa favored at home by 18. Missing McCaffrey this week, but otherwise a full, scary, all-around solid team roster. Laporta Potts needs a huge classic breakout out of Jamar Chase and could potentially, if we do not get a counter trade, might be losing Joe Mixon from the roster. So we are going to give this one to Medusas to cover at home. Lock it up. And then we've got the Scrotums at the Big Dak Energies. Big Dak is piling it on, continues to win weeks, overall points leaders. They're given 12 at home. The Scrotums still got Justin Jefferson, but making big moves with trades out there. If this trade goes through, they're going to get some running back help with Joe Mixon. And they got Tyreek Hill that's just scoring out of nowhere, getting everything not out of nowhere. Come on, it's Tyreek Hill. filling in with the depth for some bye weeks. Both teams scrambling to get it in there. But I think what we have here is we've got the Tua flocking to Tyreek, and we got the Scrotums getting trades coming in. Big Dak giving 12 at home, two big teams getting it. Good job. Good job. The Scrotums cover on the road. All right, let's go. We got the Gimme Flowers at the Healthy Twins. The Healthy Twins coming off of their first loss of the year. Flowers with a huge spread of 28 coming into this week. Healthy Twins doesn't really know what they're going to do for quarterback. They've got the Brian Rippin. He's going to be ripping that ass out there on the field. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know yet if he's getting the start. Still projected for 0 points, but let's go with the ripping ass. The Twins are going to cover this huge spread 28, but they're not going to win. The downward slide begins last week with the Healthy Twins, the loss of the quarterback. But gotta watch out for that barn burner in Germany. If those two teams can put up the big points out there playing in the European League, then we could see some extra Dolphin points for Healthy Twins to make it close. But we're going with Healthy Twins. Good job, good job, good job. Getting 28 points. Then we got the Taint Party at the Cum Sale. The Taint is giving 30 points on the road. Big spread. Cum Sale is finally playing like the Cum Sale we thought would be playing. You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish. Clayton Tune is in the roster fill-in for Desmond Ritter, who did get sat. That's not going to work out for you. The Taint Party is bringing a 4 running back set this week. Gus Bus is going to keep it moving. But the Cum Sale, 30 points. Surprises all because Taint Party is the most underwhelming team in the league this year. They're going to get the win. You're going to get the win. You are going to get the win. But you're not going to cover 30 points. Good job, Cum Sale. Last game of the week, we've got the Jumbo Nears versus the Hot July Pies. The Hot July Pies, home favorite by 11. Both teams fighting off some buys. We got an injury this week late coming in there with Damian Pierce. And the July Pies, they've got enough on their bench. They can fill the gaps. It's all good. There's not a lot of room for the Boomers. Jordan Addison is really the guy that's going to carry this team, but not enough to make a comeback here and cover the spread. So lock it up, the July Pies. Cover the 11 points at home. We're going 7-0 this week. We're going to get back on top of our game against the spread. Come and ride with me, and we will get that dough. Let's turn it back over to the Firm Malicious Death to run us through the standings and talk to our guest of the night. Yeah, let's talk about the standings. Let's see where we're at. Because we got another shift. We had one team at the top. Now we've got two. 7-1. Beth's Healthy Twins and the Pubic Medusa. Medusas takes the lead. The former champ probably not going to look back from this point on. He's got the total points edge, so he's at the top of the ladder. 6-2, we've got Gimme Flowers, another fan favorite from the beginning of the year, putting it together, getting great scoring out of the team, getting great action out of Lamar. 5-3, we've got Big Dak Energy and the Hot July Pies. Both of these teams very hot, winning a lot of games, putting up a lot of points. Sitting at 4-4, all by themselves at 500. Win total of the last 2 years combined, probably, maybe not. Yeah, probably. The Cum Sales. Hey, how you doing there at 4-4? We'll see if they can win any more games this year or if they just stay as a 4-win team. Sitting at 3-5, the majority of our teams under 500. La Porta Potties, the Taint Party, All Hail ESPN, Scrotums, the Taint Party again, because that's what I put in my show notes, but it's worth mentioning you twice. And the Jumbo Ween Kinnears. And wow, forgot Dame Judi Dench at 35. So maybe that's why Taint Party is in there twice, because I forgot myself. But I'm sitting there at 3-5, tied with the Weenears, and going at it there for that $100 end of the year bet. 2-5, sitting at the bottom, the surprise, the Ham Fist Ham Stars. It was called at the beginning of the year that they'd end up 5-9. They've got a chance to not be 5-9, but it's becoming harder and harder to get there. I think that they're going to put together some wins that keep putting up a lot of points and unfortunately keep losing. And then joining Ham Stars at the bottom at 2-5 is John Wilkes Tooth. Let's go ahead and turn it over for our owner interview segment. Take it away. Thank you. All right, here we go. We're jumping in. We've got a great guest tonight. We're talking the owner, Dame Judi Dench, the Firm Malicious Death, joining us tonight after defeating the 7-0 team How are we doing tonight? Hey, glad to be on tonight. It's exciting. Really love this program. Love watching it week in and week out. It gets me excited, gets me prepped for the games leading into the fantasy football. So just honored to be on the show tonight. Just happy to be a guest. Your team has had a rough start. We're in week 9, and you have 8 guys on IR. How are you feeling about your team this year? It's been a tough year. It really has from week 1, with somehow getting the victory in week 1, just with a kicker, going into it with Aaron Rodgers and a kicker being like, yeah, I got this. This is great. And then 3 plays later, Rodgers tears an Achilles. J.K. Dobbins had already torn an Achilles. And then the next week 2, Nick Chubb, just his knee going every which direction. That was 3 big players that I expected to have big years and really carry the team. So it's been tough, and as the week over week has continued, I might not have lost some of the larger star power, but other players that I was going to rely on, Debo Samuel, Pat Fryermuth going out with like some leaving games early, not coming back, not getting full points, and then going on to some like 2 and 3 week outages kind of thing. It's been really tough. I got 8 players on the IR, and there's a couple of other players that are just out for a couple of weeks. So tough to put a full roster together. After all of these injuries, what's kept you motivated throughout the year to keep playing fantasy football? Yeah, I mean, it's been tough to be motivated. There's been times where I've definitely felt like I'm done with this team, and I'm ready to sell, and I'm ready to rebuild, go full cum sale, and cash it in. But what has motivated me is some play from Jerome Ford. Kareem Hunt finally getting re-signed by the Browns after the Chubb injury, and he's playing well. He's doing what he did last year a good bit. I'd hoped that I could have dumped him last year during the trade before the NFL trade deadline, but that didn't happen. So that feels good. At least, a little bit of redemption for myself for holding on to that guy. And, he's available for trades for anybody that needs somebody that's going to put in some solid points, get some receptions, for anybody that's looking for that added depth. But that's what's really kind of helped me keep it going is knowing that I did have some depth. I'm still able to field a 10-man roster somehow. This week I'm at the limit. No other players left on my roster to throw in. So really watching the injury reports this week to see if I had to scramble for the waivers yet again. But looking forward, getting through some bye weeks. I've got Debo coming back in week 10. Fryermuth should be coming back soon, but I like Jake Ferguson, a young tight end in Dallas. And, I like Brock Purdy. He's struggled the last 3 weeks, still puts up some points. He's starting to run a little bit more because I think teams are seeing that if you pressure him, he's not doing so hot with pressure. He's starting to throw some interceptions, but he can scramble a little bit. So that's nice. Obviously a 49ers fan, so love having Big Cock Brock on my team. And, the real motivation though, is I've just been thinking like the Jets. If I can just scrape together enough wins to make the playoffs, I get Aaron Rodgers back in week 12, so that's what I'm really holding on to. Talk about the hurt. Which one of those hurt the most? Yeah, I mean, I think 2 of them for sure. Nick Chubb, 100%. Everybody's projecting Nick Chubb to be the number 1 running back this year with all the volume that he gets and with kind of clearing that backfield out for him. It was going to be the Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford show, but, Jerome really just being a spell back. So that one definitely hit me hard. I think the other one that I've struggled with has been J.K. Dobbins. I drafted him in our initial draft injured, understanding I wouldn't have him until year 2, comes back year 2, gets injured again, I lose him. And then here we are, year 3, and a lot of promise. I was sitting here saying, you know what, I got this 3-headed monster between Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, and J.K. Dobbins. That's all I need. I've got some really strong wide receivers. Then J.K. tears that Achilles. He's a young buck, but he keeps getting hurt, and he's in some weird time frames with his contract. So it's curious of whether he gets re-signed or not. If he can land with another team, if another team can trust him. I'm really just hoping that Baltimore feels the love for J.K. and rehab goes well, and we give it one more shot. So J.K.'s definitely been one that hurt me pretty deep. Yeah, it is pretty devastating to see that happen. That was definitely a rough one. So 8 guys on the IR. You watch some real star power go out. You've got some fill in the gaps. You've got some other people in your team that should be producing. They're not doing it just yet, but it lingers. There's opportunity. Have you determined your strategy for the rest of the year and beyond, as this is a dynasty league? It's a week by week thing. It really is. I a lot of highs. Actually, not. There haven't been any highs. Pretty low right now. But last week built me back up, gave me hope, false hope, probably being able to take down the Patricio 7-0 team. That was big for me. That was big for the morale. I don't think it's sustainable, but it was enough to kind of jar the enthusiasm some more and not get on that sell bandwagon. I've gotten some interest in Aaron Jones. Some teams that are looking for him as Hammy is possibly finally healthy there. So I'm hoping that he can turn it around. But I know that if I sell Aaron Jones, I am giving up on my year because that essentially means that I'm starting Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford the rest of the year and just running Cleveland backfields. So it's touch and go. I think I've got to see how the next couple of weeks go. I had some age on my team going into this year, thinking that it was kind of like, this is the year, we got to go for it. And then we start to sell. So I'd say, let's see how the next couple of weeks go. And if it's not hitting for any of you contenders out there, I might be a seller for you. So talk. It's a tough call. It's a tough call, especially with how the standings are shaking up right now. Everybody's jumbled there. There's good opportunities to fight away into the playoffs. Might depend on the strength of schedule going through the rest of the year and see what kind of wins can go. I think it really comes down to, can you win? Is it worth it? Is it worth jeopardizing a draft slot in next year to make a run or to keep winning? Nobody's going to tank. Nobody's going to send out a worse lineup. It's fantasy football. Make it happen. See how the cards fall. So everybody knows you got to bet with Brian. You guys finished neck and neck last year, even money, and you put $100 on the line. Who's going to have the most regular season wins following year? So this year, both of you sitting at 3-5. Ryan gets the win in the first matchup. You guys fight again in week 14. What are you thinking about this bet? Yeah, the Brian bet. Holy cow! So I saw the smack talk and looked at his team, looked at my team, was feeling like I might have a championship team going into this year, and was like, hell yeah, $100, let's do it. Not a problem. I am going to smoke this. And then, as we've talked about tonight, injury after injury has leveled it, and there's a chance that I lose this. There's a chance for both of our teams. Brian's rebuilding. It's kind of funny how, as I get injured, Brian's rebuilding for next year. So he's kind of depleting the abilities of his team. Obviously, we're playing for the league. We're not playing against each other, but it's a nice kind of supplemental thing to root for. I don't know where anybody else stands, if anybody's pulling for me or Brian, but it's just kind of good for healthy competition. We're both sitting there at 3-5 right now. Brian got the big win against me already, so that's a notch in his favor. We play again later in the year, just based on how we do the double ups of playing the team that was right next to you in the previous year. So that's cool. I'm glad that it works out that way. Hopefully it comes down to that last game to keep the excitement. I think I can do this though. I think with the scrappy team that I have, the fact that I can still fill a 10-team roster without, bums necessarily is pretty good. Feeling like Brian's really going to be riding that Jordan Addison train. I think it's going to, I guess, come down to strength of schedule. a little bit of what we've got left, and this might come down to like a total points tiebreaker. And right now, Brian's got the edge, so excited to keep seeing how that goes. We'll see how it shakes out. Maybe it comes down to total points in the end of the year. It's a tough call. I think at the beginning of the year, a lot of people would have said, "Yeah, this team has got what it takes." It's a no brainer. It's one sided. But then the injuries started rolling in, and it evened the playing field. Really exciting. I don't. It's probably tough for you to sit there and think about how the season has really gone. But staying positive, I love it. Optimistic, feeling good about your team, and we like our guys. We like our guys. So when you're not fantasizing about football, what are you doing? I mean, all I do is fantasize about football, playing fantasy football. And most of my nights are chatting along with the boys, placing some sports bets and all kinds of degeneration going on there. The new big thing right now is weekday college football, which hopefully most of you are into it because it is exciting. You gotta love that action. It's good stuff. But yeah, no, I really digging the football. Love this time of the year. But yeah, folks might not know that I do like to run. I like to get outside and put in some miles. I like doing the trail runs. I did a 50-kilometer race in December last year there in Kentucky, all on trail, which is a big accomplishment for me. Really difficult, really challenging mentally, but kind of got me into the gear. I've run a couple of half marathons this year, so if I can find the time for it between parenting and work and other obligations and all that jazz, I like to get out and put some feet to trail more than pavement, but it's tough to get out the trail sometimes too. But yeah, that's probably what I like doing the most. But putting on the Paude is another big thing that takes up a little bit of time, but it's fun. It's fun to recap, continue to live in that fantasy world. Yeah, it's a good time. But yeah, like to get out there, put in the miles, like to slap a little bass, man. Slap at the bass. Haven't slapped the bass in a while, but like to really run down some P Funk All Stars and some Max and Jackson action going there and ripping it like it's hot sun. A little bit of street hockey, bringing that back. It's been a while for that. I think we should get the crew back together going into the street hockeys. Anything team sports related, I'm down. I will run up the walls in the gym, back down and out the other side. I'm very excitable. Just like to hang out and have a good time. So fantasy football is great, but there is life outside of fantasy football. So yeah, thanks for the question. That's some good stuff. People might not have known that. People might have known that. Sounds like a lot of your world does revolve around fantasy football, and that's what's keeping you going day in and day out, and doing the work for the people, getting out these kinds of productions so other people can enjoy the game the way that you enjoy it. Thank you for being with us tonight. This was a great opportunity to talk to you. Everybody wanted to know, how the Kingslayer was feeling coming off of that big victory, and letting the rest of the league know you're here to help, kind of thing. Let's jumble those standings even more. Thanks again. Great having you on tonight. It's great being on the show tonight. It's always been a dream of mine. So I just really appreciate you having me. Hopefully, my team can do enough that maybe I get another spot on here later in the year, but we will see how that goes. So, yeah. All right. Let's push it back over to the Nickinato and close out this show tonight. All right. What a nice, fantastic interview hearing from people from our league. We love to see it. We love the owners. We love to talk to them and learn about them, talk about how their season's going, learn a little bit of the personal stuff. It's been a great night. It's been a great show. I'm excited for the weeks to come, excited to see the action in the chats and really get these trades moving as teams are jockeying for their positions. So without that, I think we just got to go. Say goodnight, Firm. Good night, Firm.
Thank you for listening to the official podcast of the Public Honors College Fantasy Football League. Cum quickly, cum often, and cum loud.